My name is Nelson Phillips. I'm a professor at Imperial College. I teach leadership and strategy there, and I'm also the Associate Dean of External Relations. I'm going to be talking about purpose, how you think about what purpose is, what your purpose is, and also the role that purpose plays in organizations in inspiring and motivating people that are working in the organizations that you create and lead. I found the event so far to be really interesting, really exciting. I think the first speakers have done an excellent job of getting us all thinking about, wealth is important, accumulating wealth is important, but what's more than that? What's next? What's bigger than that? And that's exactly what I'll be talking about a little later. First of all, I'm sorry I'm last. I don't know, you've been sitting here for a very long time. I've been sitting with you, so I know how long it's been, but it's also been super interesting. And I really am thankful that I could join you today. I'm not from Nigeria. Today I am, thank you. I'm not from Nigeria. I'm not even from the UK originally. If you're good at accents, you can probably hear that I don't sound very British. I'm actually from a place that makes this room seem warm. I'm from Canada. Yeah. But I've been here for a long time. So one of our speakers mentioned coming on holiday and never going home. I wasn't quite that bad. I came originally for 3 years, and that was 19 years ago. Now I have a wife, a cat, and a house, and I'm stuck. So it's the way it is. But it's not a bad place to be stuck. I'm happy to be here, and it's lovely to be here with you. It's been really interesting, and I'm not, I don't know that much about Nigeria. I know a bit. I've traveled quite a bit in Africa, but it's been really interesting to hear the perspective today, and I'm really encouraging to hear your willingness and interest in doing something about a topic that's very important to us in the universities. So I know there's another professor here, and at Imperial College, where I'm from, this is the lack of representation of various groups in our student body is a huge source of concern for us, and we're trying to do as much as we can, but it really does take activity in the communities to help students feel like they have the support to come to institutions like Imperial College, or like Cambridge, or like Oxford. These are places where people don't necessarily feel there's a community for them, and having a community holding them up is the way to get them to come. So really, really happy to see what you're doing. Super pleased to be here, to be involved. In terms of me, I started out life as an engineer, as a computer engineer. Actually, I started out life on a farm. So I was just there, actually. I just came back 2 days ago. I was at my parents' farm. I grew up on a beef ranch in Alberta. It doesn't get more Canadian than that. So if you have any cows and you have any problems with those cows, let me know, I can help. And if I can't help, my dad can definitely help. He knows everything there is to know about cows. But I decided I didn't want to be on the farm. I went to university, I became an engineer, a computer engineer, and I started out life as a computer programmer. I started out life working for IBM. And then I got involved in entrepreneurship, went into some small companies, and I discovered actually that the real problems in organizations, the real problems if you're in companies or in government, the real problems aren't really to do with the machines. Computers are great. You tell them what to do as long as you're skillful enough. They do exactly what you tell them, and they do it as many times as you ask them to do it. The problem is the people. And there's lots of really interesting problems that happen where people run into technology, which is what I started out studying. And then increasingly I've got more and more interested and involved in particularly leadership, strategy and leadership. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. Just a little bit, not for too long. Don't worry, I know when a professor gets started, it could seem, this could go on for a long time. I'm on very strict time constraints, so don't worry. But I'm going to try to introduce a couple things and maybe get you to do a little bit of stuff, if we can, if we have time, to get you to think and move your pencil, at least. Okay, so let's talk. What I want to talk about is this idea of purpose. We've heard lots of the speakers today mention, in some way or other, this idea of having a purpose. That there's something you are somewhere you're trying to get, something you're trying to do other than just get rich. Nothing wrong with being rich. It's not a bad thing, but it's not really a much of a satisfying goal in and of itself. You need something more. And this is a big topic in leadership. It's a big topic in lots of organizations I talk to. Have you come across this word recently? Purpose? Yeah. What context have you come across it? What have you been thinking or talking about it? Yeah. Pardon?
In the context of agile innovation.
Oh, in agile innovation. Okay, yeah. Okay, agile's big in that. Yeah. And in any other ways, any other things you guys have come across? Everyone who tries to hire my students runs into this word. My students don't anymore want to work for organizations that just make money. They're not very interested in that. There's millennials, you know, these people. There's not any in this room as far as I can see, so we can talk about them. Yeah? These millennials, they're all about this purpose thing. And they don't want to work for a bank unless it's social impact investing kind of bank. Then it's interesting for them. They don't want to work for a telecommunication company unless that telecommunication company has a bigger purpose. They don't want to work for an oil company for sure, unless that oil company is about replacing oil with some renewables or something. So something of purpose if you want to hire millennials. I also work a lot with MBA students. They're like 40 years old, 35, 40, especially exec MBAs, and they're all searching for their purpose. It's not about their companies, it's their personal purpose. They've got to a certain point in their life, they're like you, the conversation we're having today. They have a bit of money, not rich, not poor, they're fine. They just think, is there more? What am I for? Why am I here? And these are two sides of the same question. So I want to talk briefly about these two things and see where we can get in our conversation. And feel free to stop me, argue with me, ask questions as you wish. I know Monica did, so I'm sure none of you are shy either, and when she was my student. I'm going to talk a little bit about purpose in organizations and then try to move quickly into purpose at a more individual leader level, you as a leader. Part of it is the organizations that you lead. That's important, but I think that's also sort of easier. In strategy, and actually I worked recently with a couple of companies who have this exact question. How does an organization change and grow, but still remain focused and distinct? How does that work? I can move that over a little bit. There we go, thank you. And these guys, Collins and Porras, they wrote some stuff about this. Collins is quite famous author in strategy. Companies that enjoy enduring success have core values and a core purpose that remains fixed, while their business strategies and practice endlessly evolve. And I think this is exactly parallel to your personal purpose as a leader. That what you do on a day-to-day basis may be completely different one day to another, but where you're trying to get and what you're trying to do needs to be the same. Right? You need to understand what that is and where you're trying to go. This is about companies, and we'll talk a little bit about that, and then we'll move on to you. Right? So how do we think about this? What is it with the company? Well, what these guys said is that it's actually, I think it's my slides actually. It's really, in terms of strategy, it's about having a clear understanding of some sort of core, what these guys call core ideology, and then something about envision future. And I heard lots of words in the presentations. I heard people talk about mission, and I heard people talk about vision. And I think that's a very good way to sort of think about it. What's a mission and what's a vision? And then thinking about how does that apply to you as a leader. Core values. Core values are really something that most organizations now have written down. You can go on the websites, you can see people have written them down, or at least tried to. They tried to express something about what is it that stays the same in terms of who we are as an organization. And this is my students are really interested in this when they're thinking about whether to go to work for a company or not. What is it that this company actually believes in? Right? It's something that holds the thing together. There can't be too many. There shouldn't be 20. If you have 20 values, maybe you need to get rid of a few of those because you're getting a long ways down the list by the time you get to 20. Right? Probably 3 to 5 is pretty good. And they shouldn't change very often or very much. Right? This should be something fundamental to what you are as an organization. Right? And this should be something you can express both to people who are going to be your customers or you're serving, if it's a governmental organization or a charity, whoever you're providing services to. It should be something that helps you to make decisions, and it should be something that brings together the people in the organization. Right? Core purpose, often people refer to this as the mission. Right? And this is why the organization exists. What's it for? And what's it about? Right? What's this kind of, and this is what my students are really, really interested in. What is it that we're trying to do as an organization? What's this organization set up for? And technology companies, which is mostly what I study, often have really interesting ones because they're trying to trying to figure out and state what they're for. So anyone know what Facebook's mission is? Not to make money. I know it seems like it is. Pardon? Bring people together. Exactly. That's its mission. That's what Zuckerberg says. So, and that's why lots of employees at Facebook are really, really unhappy right now. Because they were hired on to work for a company that was to bring people together. And what does their company mostly do now? Pull them apart, mess up elections, spread untruths. So if you work for Facebook right now, you're not very happy because you signed up because you're going to be bringing people together. And then in your everyday life and everyday work life, what your company does is actually the reverse. It's swaying elections and causing people to believe that all kinds of things. They shouldn't vaccinate their children. All kinds of things that don't have any basis in fact. So this is a problem. So your core purpose, it better be true and it better be real and it better be reflected in what the organization does. And that's kind of the mission. The other half of this that's important, here's an example. This is HP. This is their list of values. Don't have to read. We conduct our business with uncompromising integrity, blah, blah, blah. All very nice. And then a few missions. This is kind of what we're about. And I picked these all because I like them. And I think they're kind of true. Right? So you see 3M, to solve unsolved problems. And it's a tricky one for 3M because if you are familiar with this company, they're in all kinds of things. And if you go, 3M has a policy that 40% of their revenue should come from things they've invented in the last 5 years. So they never know what business they're going to be in next. So they couldn't have anything about business, so they came up with something that describes who they are in their core. They're innovators. Right? Merck, to preserve and improve human life. Sony, to experience the joy of advancing and applying technology for the benefit of the public. And then Google, my favorite one. It's not that Google's been split up into Alphabet and there's all this kind of stuff. This is old, the original Google. To organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. And there's more to their mission. What's the rest that they don't say? What's really special about Google? How many Google products have you used today? How much did you pay? Free. So what should be on there is for free. Because everything Google does, they do for free. For you. Not for the advertisers, but for you. Right? And that's what makes Google the #1 employer of choice in the United States of university graduates. Why? Because they're the biggest social enterprise in the world. If you think of the value you got I use Google Maps today. I use Gmail today. I use Google Search today. I paid nothing. This company gives away more value than any company, any other organization in the world. It's all free. That's spectacular. If you don't want to look at the advertising, you don't have to. Just don't look. Don't click through, it's fine. Right? You can just use that stuff for free. It's amazing. Right?
Is it really for free?
I don't know. Do you ever pay for it?
No, but they track your information though, isn't it? So,
yeah?
so what are they getting back?
But they have a whole business model that we don't have time to go through here. She'll kill me. But yeah, you're absolutely right. There's a way that they fund their business, but no one in the world, if you think about all of the people in the world who don't have the resources you have, but have a mobile phone, they can use all this stuff for free. They have a free word processor. They have a free, so yeah, they track some data, but that doesn't cost me anything. And I wasn't going to do anything with that data anyway.
Literally doesn't cost you.
Yeah, so you're right. So
It doesn't, but then they're gathering information.
yeah,
And the information.
that's true. No, you're absolutely right. And there's some privacy issues which are really interesting. But when you talk about my students again, people in this room, you're worried about privacy. My students aren't. I have a class where I try to talk to them about privacy on the internet. You know what they say to me? What are you talking about, man? You are so old. Right? They're like, we do not care about privacy. In fact, what they say is, obviously we don't care about privacy. We're trying to put everything we can on Instagram. We're the reverse of caring about privacy. We want all of you to look at everything, please. It's like the reverse. They don't care. But the concern with privacy varies. The older you are, the more concerned you are. Sir.
I wasn't gonna. This is more to.
You're
argue about,
You can argue with me. It's cool.
I'm just saying, from the information they gather,
Yeah.
they use that to target ads.
Yeah.
And those ads,
Sorry.
in a way, are generating an income for themselves.
So you know what you do? Just never click on one of those ads. Trick them.
But that's the thing. Sometimes the ads
Are really good and you like it.
Yeah, sometimes they're from your searches.
Yeah, of course they are. In fact, they're well, I didn't mean to get into this. Yeah, they combine all kinds of data together. If you look at something on Google search and you go on Facebook, they sell each other data. There's all sorts of stuff going on in there. Absolutely. But what they're selling is how you're searching and what you're searching on. You get all sorts of weird things, right? I was on Amazon. My dad used to golf, and I bought some golfing books on Amazon for him. It's literally for a whole year, I was getting all kinds of golfing stuff everywhere. In Google search, and like everything is like, I don't even like to golf. And you notice that whenever you book a flight, then immediately they start telling you there's flights somewhere. Like, I just bought that flight. They're really bad at this still, right? Anyway, that's not really what we're supposed to be talking about. Sorry, Monica. Let's keep going. And then this idea of a vision. And these things are really important. Mission, what we're about, our values, what we believe, our mission, what we're about, why we exist. And then this idea of some sort of a vision, where we're going, where we're going to be at some point. And this is what companies have. And in companies, I've gotten quite far in this. My question to you is, do you have this as an individual leader? Can you write down right now what your mission is? Can you write down right now your purpose as a leader? Right? Mark Twain said the two most important days in your life are the day you're born and the day you find out why. Right? Being able to say why means you can state your purpose. Right? And that's a challenge. And this is what I try with my MBA leadership students. This is what I try to make them do, and they find it super uncomfortable. They laugh, kind of hysterically, right? And I'm going to make you try in a minute if we have time to write this down. To write down what's your purpose for you. And I'll give you some hints first before I do that. But you can prepare yourself, okay? I'll give you some hints how to do it, because it's a bit kind of, some of you this will be very familiar, some of you not so much. Why is it important? Well, it's important because, having an understanding what your purpose is helps you to have a greater sense of well-being, according to psychologists. According to business sort of people, it's important if executives have a good, clear idea of what their purpose is and how it fits with the purpose of their organization. And leadership people like me talk about how if you're going to really be successful at getting to your goals, you have to understand who you are and what you're about as a leader. All right? So this is a good thing to do. It's valuable and it fits very well, hopefully, with what we've been talking about today. So the question is, can you do this? Can you create a statement like Google's about you? So Google's purpose, to make the entire world's information available on the internet for free. I don't know if you know, but a couple years ago, there was big trucks outside the British Library, and Google proceeded to digitize every book in the British Library. Can you imagine? So, you all work for companies or for the government. You know, you have to put in that proposal if you want to invest money. It has to show the return on investment.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Has that been Google's statement from day one?
Yes.
Or it progressively became that?
Oh, no, so you're absolutely, that's very good. No, that's a very good question. Because at the very beginning, they wouldn't have been able to say that. It was started by two academics, and they started out with this desire. Why they created the search engine that became,
Yeah, okay.
right? Was because they wanted to, this is what they were trying to do. This was the problem they were trying to solve. That's right, exactly. And they had a mission, and their vision, at the beginning, they didn't think it was going to be a business. In fact, the time they tried it, they came up with an algorithm, and at night at Stanford University, they started it on one computer. That computer ran out of memory. They ended up with a whole bunch of the computers from all the offices at Stanford in the business school, or the computing department, all connected together, trying to do this. Because there was already then more web pages to index than they thought there was, because no one knew how many there were. Because there's no central registry for all this stuff. So we can talk about that over coffee. It's cool. Good story. So it's thinking about the same thing for you. It's not your job, right? It's not kind of what you do. It's not your education. It's not that. It's what you are as a person, what you are as a leader, it's the strengths and passions you bring to the table in all walks of life. What is it that's special about you as a leader and as a person that really is kind of defines you? How do you come to this? How do you get there? Well, hang on. Let me do this in another order. How you do this is think about times in your life, the great times when you felt like you were really effective, really enjoying a moment, really look at it doesn't have to be even times at work, right? It's times when you felt like you were really at a peak moment in terms of solving a problem, in terms of contributing to a situation, in terms of helping someone, whatever it was. Think back, what were those moments? What do you see across multiple of those moments that defines you as a person, that gives you joy, where you felt you really could contribute and really did contribute, right? What are your strengths, your values, your passions, and what are the kinds of problems and situations where you feel like you can really contribute, that bring you joy, right? Here's some examples. These are some that some people came up with for themselves. Compelled to make things better, whomever, wherever, however. To be the gentle, behind-the-scenes, kick-in-the-ass reason for success. These are people's actual purpose statements as leaders. What they are. And this should be something that if you told your best friend, your wife or husband, your brother or sister, they go, yeah, that's you. That's what you should have. Okay? So once you've thought about that, step one, have a little think, and I'm not going to expect you to get very far today, but if you want to go back to this later, this is a really good leadership development activity. Right? Write down the essence of what you found in this kind of format. My purpose is, and this is one of my very most favorite individual purpose statements, and that's find the frogs. And this person, their life experience that they were reflecting on was how when they were the kid, they were always the person who never gave up. So they were told a story about how they were out with their friends when they were kids, and they would go look in ponds and they'd look for frogs and look under rocks and everything. And she would keep going when everyone else gave up until she finally found a frog. And she would always find a frog. After everyone else had given up and gone home, no frogs, she'd still find a frog. And that's her thing. She perseveres. And she summarized that by, my leadership purpose is to find the frog, to get there. I keep things going. I'm the person who provides impetus in situations. She summarized it that way. I just really like that one because it's cute. Yeah? And it's also very personal. Emphasize the steps you bring to the table, blah, blah, blah. And step three, and this is, I think where this is really valuable, is to say, okay, just like a company, if this is our purpose, where do we want to be in terms of living that purpose in 3 to 5 years? And if that's true, where do we want to be in 2 years? And if that's true, where are we going to be in 1 year? And that means what do we need to stop doing right now and what do we need to start doing right now? And you go through that process and you have stuff you need to do today. Remember that just do it? It's the same thing, just about something slightly different. It may include that, right? Develop this plan. I'm going to give you these slides, so don't worry. I'll take pictures. You can if you want. That's very modern of you to take pictures, by the way. It's good. Yeah. Probably you're going to be on TikTok later, right? That's how cool you are. Yeah, okay. So, how am I doing on time? Am I okay? Okay. I got 13 minutes. Okay. Let me see. So let's start with this one. Start thinking about this. Think back. Think about times at work. Think about times at home. Think about times in your life, across your life. What times were you feeling most engaged? Feeling like you were really contributing? What was the thing that was particular about your contribution? It's hard, I know. You're all looking at me like, really? Seriously? We have to do stuff? Yeah, a little bit. And get your piece of paper. There's lots of paper in the middle of the table. See if you can write a statement that says, my leadership purpose is, and then something. I'm not going to make you stand up and read them out. I'm not going to make you do anything embarrassing. You can do it in your head if you like, but it works better. It works well if you do it on paper. You probably have yours already.
Sorry?
You know yours already. I could tell you're one of overachieving students, I could tell. When you think you have one, turn to someone next to you and share yours back and forth. See if you can get some, see what they think of it. Pick a friend. If you don't have one, just give them, you can just do some peer consulting and help the person beside you. Oops, sorry. You got one? You got it? Yeah, okay. It's really hard, so don't worry. It takes a lot of time. So if you just, did you guys get ones? Did you figure one out? Did you figure one out?
Yeah, no.
Oh, you guys are sharing. Good, good, good. See what she thinks. Do you need a pen? Oh, you got lots of them. Oh, you got a whole bag of them. Nice.
Very easy to use the words and how that is such
What time am I supposed to finish?
So don't take it lightly.
8 minutes? Okay.
It's not everybody else.
8 minutes? I got 5 minutes left? No, 5's okay. No, I have one more exercise, but I'm not going to do it. It's fine. It's fine. That's good. I brought extra things. That's fine.
Anywhere.
Did you get one? What's yours? Read it to me. I don't have my glasses. Connect. Oh, that's good. Connect people in a positive way. Perfect. I could probably do one for you after your lovely talk.
To impact others by motivating them to accomplish all their dreams.
That's really good. That's really nice. Yeah. That's good. She knew that already. She had that already in her head. Yeah, that's good. If you can get her as a mentor, you're doing well. I think she probably has a few mentees already, though, is the problem. Yeah. Oh, someone asking me a question. You guys have a question? Somebody have a question?
Yeah, we were just having a discussion about how tangible you need that to be, rather than. So if I say my purpose is to maximize my core strength and passion, in what? So I guess what
You're
I'm
asking
saying
the right
is-
question.
So
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I'll tell you.
Okay.
That's an excellent question. It has to be specific enough that you can do the other part. Set your goals.
Oh, I see.
That's too general because you can't figure out what you don't do.
Yes, that's
Right? So you have to work a little bit more on it to get it exactly in what area, how, for whom,
Yes.
right? And it's and then when you think about the kind of 5-year, 2-year, 1-year strategies, you'll have to work back and forth and clarify it in order to figure out what does that mean for where I want to be in 5 years, and what does that mean for what I should be doing right now? Because what this is really useful for, it's not like a personal development plan, like a leadership development plan. It's much more about what you need to stop doing. What am I doing right now that actually is a waste of my time? So I need to stop doing these things and focus on these things. Otherwise, in 5 years, I'm going to be exactly the same place. Right? But you'll never be able to do it in 5 minutes. It's going to take more time. So don't worry.
It's good in terms of generating.
I wanted you to all to try, but
Yes.
this takes some time and some thinking. Yeah, yeah. Am I out of time? Yeah. 2 minutes.
7 minutes.
7?
Yeah,
That's
so
very
30 or
generous.
45, yeah.
Okay, so how is that going? You already had yours. How's everybody doing? Okay, any questions at that, or comments or things you want to share from that exercise? Yes? Anything you want to talk about? No?
Sorry, what was the question?
Do you have any questions? How did that go? I mean, I'm really impressed with how far the people I spoke to got in 2 minutes. But this is a very challenging thing. And like many things that are challenging, your tendency will be to avoid thinking about this because it's hard. So the challenge for you as a leader, if you want to continue, this is something that should be a complement to whatever leadership development activities you're doing. This is a complement to that. This doesn't replace this. It's not instead of. It's just another aspect, because this tells you what you shouldn't be wasting your time doing. Right? This is about figuring out what you should be doing, but specifically mostly figuring out what you shouldn't be doing. Because you have a purpose now, and also remember the other part is to figure out this 3 to 5 year, 2 year and 1 year plan, and that's the way to do it. Start out 3 or 5 years. Where do I want to be? You talked about whether you're investing and however, but those are all could be parts of this. That's fine. But this is much broader. Where do I want to be in 3 to 5 years? In general, as a leader in my community, as a leader of my family, whatever, all the ways you are a leader, as a leader in my company or my government office or whatever you are, university, where do I want to be in 3 to 5 years? And whenever you're planning, do it that way. Go out far, and then come back. Because that challenges you to, what do I need to stop doing and what do I need to start doing? Go out 5 years, then come back 2 years, then come back to 1 year. And I said I'll share my slides with you, and a little game you can play to help you with this. We're not going to do it now, but I'm just going to tell you, and it's a good kind of fun thing to do to help inform this, is to answer these questions. Just do them in a row, one after another, and think this through. If don't have time to do it now, don't worry. Imagine money were no object. What would you do differently, starting right now? Would you go back to work? If you don't want to go back to work, then you're probably in the wrong job. You don't love your job, which is okay. It's just maybe you think about that, right? If you said go back, continue working. If you just said work less, that's fine. But maybe that means you're working too much. That question helps you to see what you want to stop, right? Imagine you had 6 months to live. What would you do for the next 6 months? Imagine you had 24 hours to live. What would you do for the next 24 hours? Because those help you see what's really important to you. Right? I know what I wouldn't do. I wouldn't mark any student papers. Just saying. All right. Anyway, that's enough. There's lots of homework for you. I hope you all go home and do this. I've given you half of my leadership course in 35 minutes, so it's a lot of stuff. But hopefully it gave you something to think about and some things to do to think about your development as a leader.
What a day it's been. How amazing has it been? I'm tired, but at the same time excited at the possibilities. It's gone so well, better than I expected, and everyone is really engaged. Everyone was engaged and wanting to take the next action. So now I'm looking forward to evaluating the event, because it's important to always learn from how things have gone and to improve it for next year. So I'm looking forward to welcoming you next year and for you to just join in, and let's live beyond wealth and let's give back and make the lives of other people better as well.